Hey, welcome everyone to a review of the Soundcore Space One Pro noise cancelling over-the-ear headphones. Now, if you want to see the written version of this review, you can find a link to my website in the video description. Now, these are priced a little bit higher than the typical Soundcore headphones because Soundcore tends to budget their headphones in the budget-friendly price tag to mid-tier priced. These are still mid-tier priced, but a bit more expensive than their top-of-line brand of headphones and models. So it makes you wonder, does this want to be the top king of the mountain? You know, take the crown from everyone else in the Soundcore brand. Kind of like, what's that guy's name? Scar from The Lion King. You know, he's got that Scar. He's the evil guy lurking and prowling around, and everyone else is moving out of the way. So does that leave the other Soundcore headphones, the really good ones, kind of in the pack following the Space One Pro? What's the hyenas? They used to follow Scar, and they're laughing in the background like, I don't know if that's really the case though, because these are kind of a mixed bag. They're good and bad. Kind of like, who's that crazy monkey? Rafiki, right? He has some great positive traits to him. Wise old sage with words of wisdom, but at the same time is kind of crazy because he's getting high off his own medicinal herbs, I think. Always laughing like, oh. You know, I'm not really sure where I'm going with this anymore. I'm not making any sense and why my impersonations always have to have terrible laughter in them. But moving along. So where does this bring this into? Well, I'm going to do some comparisons of the Soundcore Space One Pro to the regular Space One, which I also have reviewed. A link to that reviews in the video description. These are great headphones at half the price. So I suggest you stick around. I'm going to draw some quick comparisons between the two. Be sure to check out the review for this as well. The Space One Pro is priced at $299 Canadian or $199 US. For connectivity, it does support a wireless and wired connection. The auxiliary port location is on the left ear cup. So there's a couple of cool things you can do while in wired mode. The first is if the battery is dead, you can still use it in wired mode. You can still listen to music. If the battery still has some juice left in it, but you use it in wired mode, you can turn on ANC mode. But all other functionality is disabled, such as Bluetooth connection, which is kind of a given. The auxiliary cable length is about 44 inches, and both ends of the cable are 3.5 millimeter. One thing to keep in mind is that you cannot use the headphones in any form whatsoever while they are recharging. The wireless connection is using Bluetooth 5.3, and the range in the manual is listed as an impressive 49 feet. In my testing, got about the same, about close to 50 feet, so their claim is pretty accurate there. It does support dual connectivity, so you can connect to two devices at the same time, and if your cell phone rings, it'll prioritize the call over the audio and pause it. Regarding how many devices you can keep in memory before having to relearn them all over again, I'm not sure, but I got 4 in my testing, which is more than enough for most people. So when it comes to connectivity, everything's relatively the same to the original Space One. Okay, switching over to accessories, we have a huge bummer here. The first is that there is a traveling pouch, but it's soft. At this price, it should have been a hard case. There's also auxiliary cable I talked about earlier, and there's a USB-A to USB-C cable measuring in 10 inches. It's not pure USB-C, unfortunately. And there's no power adapter included in the box, which is typical as you should be plugging into your computer or using your cell phone adapter if needed. Now, the original Space One also had a soft traveling pouch included, but it was half the price, so it was acceptable. Here with the Pro, that's pretty unacceptable. The Space One Pro is rather nice to look at. It has a nice clean design with small buttons and some accent colors. I have the cream white version, which has gray as the accent ring on the ear cups. The Space One Pro is also available in jet black. What I find interesting is that it isn't sporting a design similar to the original Space One, which had a very unique and also somewhat attractive look to it. It does support a folding mechanism, and it's one of the key selling features due to how compact they become. It's an interesting but well done concept to folding headphones. This folding collapse design cannot be achieved on the original Space One. It's weighing at a hefty 285 grams, but on my head it wasn't concerned, it was still rather comfortable. Whether I was wearing glasses or not glasses, in both sets of testing I was able to wear them for 3 hours straight with no discomfort. It felt great on my head. Ears didn't get sweaty or irritated at all. Now, what about comfort for working out? I don't recommend it because like all over the ear headphones, your ears are encompassed and closed, so you're bound to get very sweaty when you're doing some strenuous exercise like cardio, or as I am here, basically killing myself while doing deadlift. And the weight of the headphones might attribute to why the body construction is surprising to me. Usually when headphones have a folding design, it means sacrificing a tough body design. However, even with this very compact folding design, the body can take a fair amount of abuse and feel solid. It's highly unlikely they are dust and water resistant because not listed anywhere in documentation, and when you look at the water resistant devices on Soundcore's website, they're not listed there. So what helps make it comfortable? Well, I think the first thing is that the headband flex isn't too tight, it's pretty generous. The next, of course, is the ear cup cushioning is thick, but very, very soft. Feels great even to touch against the hand. And the headband cushioning is pretty much all around. So if you have almost no hair at all, it'll feel pretty good. Ear cup rotation is excellent going forward and back, and a little stiff going up and down, but doesn't impact comfort. Overall comfort is pretty equal to the original Space One. I can't find any replacement ear pads just yet, maybe because they're still too new. I tried looking on from third-party vendors. All I could find were results for the original Space One, so maybe wait a bit and eventually they'll be available. So if you've been wearing them for a while and just want to take them off and rest, looking left, right, and down is pretty annoying because the ear cups kind of get in the way of my chin. But to get around that, just fold the ear cups in, looking left and right feels great, and same with looking down. They don't even dig into my neck at all. It feels pretty comfortable. Switching gears to the controls, the left ear cup has the power button, and holding it activates Bluetooth pairing mode. Next is an ANC button to cycle between ANC and transparency mode and normal headphone mode. What that basically means is ANC is active noise cancelling, which will try to use technology to cancel the noise around you. Transparency allows sound to traverse from the microphones and into your ears to hear surroundings, and normal is just normal headphone mode with no special technology. Over on the right ear cup, the bottom button will play, pause, or answer hang up a call, or you can activate your voice assistant on your phone by holding it for about 2 seconds, and it also supports other non-essential commands. The next button is volume down, and holding that goes to the previous track, and the next button after that is volume up, and holding it goes to the next track. Like all Soundcore headphones that are reviewed, it's pretty annoying because when I'm looking to, play a track again, I'm looking to press volume down and hold it. Instead, I accidentally press play pause because most other headphone manufacturers, what they do is they have the play pause button in between volume up and down. Soundcore is notorious for placing it on its own. It's very annoying to accidentally press the wrong button. Smart assistant functionality on my phone works pretty decent. I can hear everything easily, and it's pretty responsive to my commands when testing it with Android and Google Assistant. And if you double tap the noise cancelling button, it'll activate bass booster mode, which is just a default equalizer template in the app. And I'll talk about audio quality later. These headphones do not support passive play pause, which basically means you're just wearing them, watching your content or listening is fine, and you take them off, they'll automatically pause. It doesn't support that functionality, but that's not typically found on all mid-tier price headphones, so it gets a pass in that area. Okay, so how does it perform with noise cancelling, transparency mode? I'll talk about all that and compare very quickly to the Space One original version. So the Space One Pro performs quite well at this price point. Actually, a little bit better than I expected it for mid-tier priced. It's gonna do very well if you're taking it on a plane. So low humming sounds, but at loud volume, like an engine noise of some kind, it does a pretty darn good job. So I think this will be pretty adequate at this price point to take it on a plane ride if needed, or maybe even a bus ride. However, where the caveat might be is vocals tend to come through a little bit. It's not going to be annoying. Like if you're listening to something like even the news, it'll be fine. What you can expect in mid-tier priced headphones. ANC does perform better overall with the Space One Pro compared to the Space One. You can tell that you're spending more money for the better quality in the Pro compared to the original ones. Now when it comes to transparency mode, I was able to hear my surroundings easily, have a conversation with people within 10 feet of range. With the original Space One, it's a little difficult. You can make out what people are saying close to 10 feet, although you have to kind of listen a bit more carefully. What about just wearing them? No transparency or ANC mode, just regular headphone mode. It's okay. It's not going to do the greatest job because, without the technology, it's going to cancel out some noise surrounding you. So it's best to just leave ANC mode on if you want to cancel surrounding noise. So how does battery perform on the Space One Pro? Well, for ANC and transparency mode, Soundcore claims you'll get about 40 hours. And how is performance in my testing? Well, I kept averaging 35 hours. And I found that strange because usually Soundcore does deliver on the battery claim, but this time it didn't. So I did the battery drain test multiple times, and what I realized is that when I switched the app, you can adjust how much you want the ANC levels up or down. I had it at maximum the entire time. So that probably explains why the battery is draining about 5 hours faster than what Soundcore claims, because in their lab tests, they probably did it at a lower ANC functionality. So it's close to the representation of what Soundcore is advertising. It's important to recognize at this price point that 35 hours of ANC performance is well suited for this price point. So when it comes to regular headphone mode, so no additional technologies on, Soundcore claims you'll get about 60 hours. In my testing, I was able to get 61 hours, so very close to Soundcore's claim. Soundcore says it'll take about 2 hours to fully recharge the battery, but I always average faster at 1.5 hours. The USB-C charging port is located on the bottom of the left ear cup. Alright, so the audio that you hear right now is coming to the Space One Pro microphone in a quiet setting. I'm going to switch over to a noisy setting and give you a comparison of the camera microphone compared to the Space One, see how much noise it can cancel out in the background, and then I'm gonna do a wind test with the fan sitting about 3 feet away from me in this direction. Okay, so I'm simulating a noisy environment with a camera microphone, and it sounds pretty bad. Switching over to Space One Pro microphone, let's see how much noise it can cancel out. Maybe I'll talk about this mess here for the next 2 hours to see how the mic works, but now I'll spare you the details. I'll stop talking for a few seconds to see if it still comes through. And lastly, we're doing a wind test right now, turning at various angles to see if it picks up a lot of noise and it's kind of going over my voice. All right, audio quality. Oh boy. Remember that Rafiki terrible reference I made at the beginning where it's a bit of a mixed bag and sometimes it's great and wise, that monkey, and sometimes that monkey's off his rocker? This is where it kind of gets a bit rocky, all right, with audio quality, surprisingly. And I was disappointed in this. So for audio codecs, it does support SBC, AAC, and LDAC. You also have the option to flip on to Dolby mode in the app. So pretty cool to have that functionality. But what does that all mean? How does it perform out of the box at flat equalizer profile and then afterwards? Well, at a flat profile, it sounds decent as you expect at mid-tier price, nothing special. Although is it a bit more bass focused and just pretty typical of Soundcore. If you don't like that, you can reduce it in the equalizer, of course. So just expect that straight out of the box. All right, so what about when adjusting the equalizer? This is where things just kind of go haywire. When I increase the bass up really high on songs that have deep bass, like Drip Too Hard by Little Baby and Gunna, well, the thing I noticed on repeated testing in multiple different songs at different genres, when you increase the bass high, it gets pretty thumping. It's good, I like it. However, you are sacrificing quality in all other areas. Like for example, the vocals take a huge step back and the volume just lowers significantly. So to bring the volume of the vocals back up, you have to increase the overall volume. But then you're increasing some of the instrumental and bass volume too high. So bass sacrifices audio quality in other areas. What happens when you increase the vocals? Well, another problem here is that the sound stage narrows in. You don't hear vocals from coming around you, it's coming from a very narrow angle, which ruins the song kind of. Okay, well, highs have to do something, right? This is the last attempt here. No, again, it's bizarre, but it performed poorly. When increasing highs, it didn't make much of a difference on those high key notes. And worst of all is then bass took a hit for it. So equalizer performance on this was just dreadful at this price point. I'm very disappointed in Soundcore because they usually deliver better. And to give it the benefit of the doubt, I have fully updated the firmware. I used the custom equalizer templates in the app. I tried every combination possible. Same unfortunate results every time. But now you might be wondering, hold on, how does it perform to the original Space One, which are pretty darn good, and half the price? How's the audio on that? It is significantly better. It doesn't suffer from any of these problems whatsoever. It's crazy to me that they're half the price, but for audio quality, they are way better and the ones to get. So despite the disappointing audio performance, I'm still gonna explain how does it perform when wearing glasses. Well, like all over-the-ear headphones with glasses on, kind of the same result. Mids and highs sound the same, there's no impact to sound quality there. Although bass, like all over-the-ear headphones with glasses on, it leaks out tremendously because where you have the glasses frame poking out, that's where all the bass comes out, so you'll take a big hit on bass quality there. So diving into the app, I'm going to select the Space One Pro headphones, and some of these things I kind of covered briefly throughout the review, so I'll skip over them to not bore you too much with this stuff. The things that I didn't really cover are easy chat mode, which allows you to quickly have a conversation with someone. If you have ANC mode on, you're listening to content, it'll try to listen to your voice and see if you're talking to someone and make it easier to communicate with them. I find this to be more of a gimmick because it doesn't work as accurately as I would want it to. Controls, there's not much really to do here. All you can do is cycle between different ANC modes. And what does double tapping the ANC button do? It just turns bass level mode on or off. That's it. And the other stuff you can adjust, so pretty useless. Safe volume was set peak cap volume limits. And then you have the settings area, which you can turn side tone mode on or off, activate dual connection mode, or firmware updates, just basically minor stuff. Considering that these are a bit more on the pricier side for Soundcore headphones, I was really expecting high quality performance here, but I was disappointed that it wasn't a Scar, it was a Rafiki. So where does that leave the original Space One? The ANC performance isn't as good. Like, you're paying half the price, but the audio is significantly better. This is what real Soundcore quality is like. Good bang for buck quality. And what does these stand as? It's not a hyena. No, it's Simba. coming back for redemption. So that's the end of my Lion King references, as well as a review of the Space One Pro. I hope you found this video useful. If you did, be sure to check out my social links and website link in the video description. Hit the like button, it does help, subscribe, and thanks for watching.